Hey Daily Dosers, I'm Kristen Lascola from the Fallbrook campus. And if I were to challenge you today to take this and hand it to your spouse, to your child, to your parent, to your boss, to a coworker, give them an all access pass to the contents hidden in here, no passwords, and leave the room, could you do it? Would you do it? Could you pass them your laptop? Could you pass them your iPad? Could you give them your Netflix password and be okay with what they were going to find? And if you did, what would the relational fallout of that be, if any? If your life group leader were a fly on the wall and got to watch the way you talk to your children or your family or your spouse, would you be proud of that? If your thought life were played as a movie for your spouse to see, would they be honored or would they be humiliated? And Paul gets pretty real with the Ephesians in chapter 5, and he talks to them about the difference between what it is to live in light and what it is to live in dark, and to be light and to be dark. And we have this saying at North Coast that if you can't post it on the live screen, then don't post it at all. Because we realize as leaders, we give up certain rights, but that doesn't just pertain to church staff. That pertains to anyone who calls themselves a Christ follower, is we give up certain rights and we give up certain patterns of life in order to die to ourselves and follow Christ. And the way Paul describes it is this. In Ephesians 5:8, he says, "For you were once darkness." Not you were once in darkness, but you were once darkness. And he describes that darkness a few verses back as fornication, unclean, covetous, idolater. He says these kinds of people have no inheritance in the kingdom of God. He says, but that was the former you. That was you, darkness. But you, light, is different. He says, now you are a light in the Lord. Walk as children of light. For the fruit of the Spirit is in all goodness, righteousness, and truth, finding out what is acceptable to the Lord. And have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather expose them. For it is shameful to even speak of those things which are done by them in secret. But all things that are exposed are made manifest by the light, for whatever is made manifest is light. Therefore, he says, awake you who sleep, arise from the dead, and Christ will give you light. As Christians, he says the first step is we hear Jesus's voice and then we respond. And after that, we walk as children of light. We leave behind the old and we pursue the new, because things that are immoral, things that are unclean, things that are gross, grow in that darkness. And he says, shine light on it. Be willing to expose it. And he's not just saying for the world. He says, this is a mirror for you. Don't just expose the darkness in the world. Expose the darkness in your own life. What would it take for us to get to the point where we could hand this over, where we could give away passwords, where people could search our search history at any given moment, and we don't have to worry? I tell my students all the time, go ahead, look through my phone. I have nothing to hide. At the very least, you're going to find some awkward moments where it's like, really? Another Dachshund video? Another Andrea Bocelli song on Spotify? Secret's out. I'm not cool, and I'm okay with that. I can deal with feeling awkward. I can deal with feeling a little embarrassed. But irreparable relationship damage because of what's on here, damage with my relationship with God, I don't know. I think we have to challenge ourselves and look at, if someone were to go through what I protect through password, would my character still stand? So the challenge for us today is to walk in the light, expose the dark parts of our life. What are we hanging on to and has no business of being a part of our life as children of light? He says, have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness. Do you still have fellowship with a part of darkness from your former life? Paul says, it's time to put on Christ and get rid of it.